Hello and welcome to this week's Facebook and LinkedIn Live. Today I'm going to be chatting with Leanne Cooper and we're going to be talking about how you can build confidence to make the changes that you want in your life. I think it's a really timely topic at the moment because obviously there's a lot of change happening in the world. It can be quite unsettling. So it's a really good topic. We're going to be talking about how to build confidence and resilience so you can make those changes that you want to make in your life and your career. As people are logging on, if they can let us know if you can hear us all okay, give us a like or an emoji, that would be fab. Leanne's got a presentation that she's going to be sharing with us. And as always, if you miss any of today's session, it will be available on a replay afterwards. So thank you so much, Leanne, for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to chat with you and learn more about this topic.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
No, I'm really excited to talk to you because I think we were just speaking a little bit before we went live about how unsettling it is at the moment and how, people maybe feel forced to make a change or they want to make a change, but they daren't at the moment because so much else is going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think making a change can be scary at any time, but when there's so much going on in the world and lots of uncertainty, I think it can make it just that little bit harder.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you've got a presentation. I know you've got a lot that you want to go through. So shall I put the slides on the screen and then
Yeah,
hopefully you can move through them?
yeah, okay, thank you so much. So we're going to be talking today then about building the confidence to make a change. So I am Leanne, I'm a self-development specialist, I'm a qualified coach, I'm a mentor and I'm a trainer for women, and I am the founder of You First Coaching. And I support high achieving but unfulfilled women to experience unstoppable success on their terms without sacrificing themselves in the process. And I do that two ways. So I do a lot of work one-to-one directly with women, and I also work with organisations and go in and deliver group coaching sessions and workshops around things such as confidence. And in terms of the topic today, confidence is something that I have got so much passion to talk to you about because it's a massive journey that I've been on. And when I share this slide with you, and you can see sort of it's almost a bit like a before and an after picture, but the first picture was me a few years ago when I worked in my corporate job, and I was that person that really, really lacked confidence. I was really unhappy, really felt unfulfilled in my role, felt like I wasn't doing the right job for me, but my self-esteem was really low, my self-confidence was really low. I wanted to make a change, but I just didn't know how. And as a result of that, I stayed stuck for such a long time. And then I discovered self-development and I started working with a coach myself, and I started doing the work around building my own lasting inner confidence. And honestly, like I feel like I can't recognize the person that I was anymore. My life has completely changed, and I'm just so passionate about helping now as many other women as I can to be able to do this work and to be able to move forward and create the life that they want to live as well, because we really don't have to stay stuck. We don't need to stay where we are. There's always options that are available for us, but that confidence piece can really, really hold us back. So confidence is a topic that I talk about such a lot, and one that is really, really important to me. So there's quite a lot of sort of misconceptions around what confidence is and isn't. So I'd love to start there and just chat about that first of all. So confidence really isn't about being the loudest person in the room. And actually, some of the most confident people I know are not people that are stood on tables shouting the loudest. They're quietly confident in themselves and their abilities. It's not about putting on a mask and only showing a certain version of yourself, or hiding or changing parts of yourself to please others either. And it's definitely not thinking that you're better than anyone else. For me, what confidence really is putting yourself out there as your authentic self, and it's knowing that you are enough exactly as you are and not feeling like you need to bend and shape and change yourself to fit into other people. And it's about taking that imperfect action even when we're scared. So I think a lot of the time people think, oh, I'm not confident because I daren't do the thing, and I'm scared and I'm not going to be able to do it perfectly. But actually a confident person knows that it doesn't need to be perfect, and that messy imperfect action and moving forwards and feeling scared is all part of the journey, and confidence really is available for everybody. So I think a lot of the time we think, oh, I'm just not a confident person, I've never been confident, it's just how I am. But actually confidence is something that we can all learn. It's something we can build and we can grow. So it is available for all of us. It sometimes just takes a bit more work for some of us than others. So if you're watching this, there's probably a pretty good chance that you're thinking that you'd like to have more confidence. So I'd like you, before we get really into it, just to start and think for a minute about what more confidence would bring you as a person. And it's not really the confidence that you want, it's what the confidence will bring you. And it's really important to connect to that, because working on your confidence and stepping outside of your comfort zone, it can feel really tough, and you need to be connected to the why and the bigger picture around why that matters to you, to help you keep moving forwards when it feels tough. So I'd love to invite you to think for a moment around what more confidence would bring you personally. So what would you be doing that you can't do now? If you had that desired level of confidence, what would life look like? What benefits would you be experiencing? What things would no longer be out of reach for you that feel like they're out of reach for you right now? And what would you feel more of that you're not feeling now? Or what would you feel less of than you're feeling now? And who else would benefit? And I just invite you to pause and think for a moment and really get clear on why confidence is important to you and why it matters to you and what it would bring to you. There's loads of things that we can do to boost our confidence, to build our confidence. But none of them are things that happen overnight, unfortunately. There isn't building authentic, lasting confidence does take time. And there's lots of different things that I can share with you, but I wanted to share with you a couple of tips today that will bring you the most impact, help you create the most lasting change and get you the results that you want, regardless of where you are on your confidence journey, regardless of what confidence looks like for you, whether it's something that you want in personally, professionally, or a little bit of both. So I'm going to share a couple of tips with you, and the first one is really to understand what's impacting you, and that requires a level of sort of self-honesty and you sort of going below the surface. And because real growth happens when we stop saying, oh, this is just how I am, and we start focusing out on how we want to be instead. It's quite easy to say, oh, I'm just not confident, and that's that. But there are a lot of things that can affect your confidence. And this list here, there's quite a few things on there, but it's by no means exhaustive at all. And as I go through it, I'd love to know, Elizabeth, if there's any of these that sort of resonate with you, that you've felt in the past, or if anybody's watching them, let me know if if you can relate to any of these, or maybe there's something completely different that's not on the list that you think is affecting your confidence. But it's so important to do this work around looking at what's potentially impacting your confidence, what the root cause is to enable you to move forwards. So the first thing I've got on the list there is a lack of clarity around strengths. And I see this a lot when women, when I come to work with me and they've been in the same role for such a long time, and life becomes a bit like living on autopilot, just getting up, going through the motions, doing your job, coming home and repeating, and never really like stepping off the hamster wheel to actually think about you and who you are as a person, what your strengths are, what your qualities are, what these brilliant attributes are. Chances are you've not thought about that for such a long time. So one of the first pieces of work I always do with clients is to have a look with them around their strengths and their achievements and the qualities, because if you're not aware of what those strengths are, and you've got a lack of clarity around your own personal strengths, how can you possibly capitalize on those strengths and use them to your advantage? So yeah, lack of clarity around strengths is a big thing that I see affecting confidence. Feeling disengaged is another thing. This is something that I can relate to if I think back about when I came back from maternity leave. So when I had my first little boy, I remember coming back and it just felt like everything about my job had changed in that year that I was off. We'd moved locations, I've got a new manager, there was new staff working there, the role had changed. I just felt like everything was completely different. And as a result, I felt really disconnected and really disengaged. And as the days and weeks went on, it just got worse and worse. And I remember that really massively knocked my confidence. So Is that you? Is that how you're feeling? Have a think about whether that's something that could be potentially impacting you. The next thing is skills, knowledge, experience gaps. So I've been working with a lady recently, and she's been out of work for quite a while unexpectedly due to long COVID, and getting back into work was really scary for her because she just felt completely out of the loop. And when we first started talking, I remember saying, oh, well, I just haven't applied for any jobs or done my CV because it's my laptop. My laptop's rubbish, and that's the reason. And I haven't bought any outfits for interviews because I want to lose weight first. And there was all these reasons why she's saying she hadn't moved forwards. But then once we got chatting, and she was able to be honest and look at what was really impacting her confidence, and it was an experience gap. It was being out of the loop and not going into work for such a long time. It frightened her, so we were able to, by identifying what the real root cause of the issue was, we were then able to look at getting her into doing some voluntary work just to get her into the habit of the working routine again, and building up a confidence that way. So again, just be really honest with yourself around whether there's any skills or knowledge or experience gaps that you need to bridge. Another thing that just springs to mind now, actually thinking about it when I was in my corporate job, I remember one day, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I went into a training course. It was me and another 9 of the senior leadership team, and we went through this full day training course, and at the end the trainer was like, right, so everybody understand that then? Everybody got that then? And everyone's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't understand. And I knew that I just didn't have the confidence to go and deliver that to my team and roll that out to the rest of the department, and that I needed to be really honest and say, do you know what, I've got some knowledge gaps, I still don't understand it, and I had to spend some more time with that person and ask for some help, and till the penny did drop, and I did understand what we've been going through. So maybe that's happening for you right now. Like, are there some things that you know that you have got a skills or knowledge gap or experience gap, and you just need to be really honest and put your hand up and say, look, I need a little bit of help here, and maybe getting that help will be the thing that really helps you to feel more confident. I know it did for me in that example. Perfectionism is the next one, and that massively kills confidence. So if you set the bar so high that only perfect will do, then there is a very, very slim chance that you are going to step outside of your comfort zone and have the confidence to do the thing. If you're only going to accept perfection as being an outcome, you will tend to stick to doing the 5 or 10 things that you know that you can do really, really well and never make a mistake. So perfectionism is something that I see that really massively holds people back. Our own thoughts and perceptions is another one. I see that such a lot. I saw that in myself for years and years, and the way that I spoke to myself, the things that I told myself, the way that I perceived myself. So that's another thing that comes up such a lot. Confidence crushing situations is another thing that might be impacting your confidence. Like, I'm 41 now, and I can still remember 15-year-old Leanne studying GCSE maths at the front of the class when the teacher took great pleasure in telling me that she didn't think that I was going to pass my GCSE maths exam, and that had such a knock-on effect from me. That was such a confidence crushing situation, and I told myself for years and years that I wasn't any good at maths. I did pass a GCSE, but for years and years she got me thinking that she'd massively confidence. She got me thinking that I wasn't good enough. So, you know, has something happened in your life that's crushed your confidence that you need to look at? The comparison trap is another thing. It's one thing having like someone that you look up to who's got what you want and using them for motivation and inspiration, but it's another thing entirely if you are spending your life looking at other people's lives and comparing them to your own and then ending up feeling terrible about it. So that's another thing that I see massively impacting people's confidence. And people tend to compare themselves with people that are much further along the line than themselves as well. So it's not even an accurate comparison. You're comparing your day 1 to somebody's year 5 or whatever. So yeah, comparison trap is another thing. Staying in your comfort zone until you feel ready. I see this such a lot, honestly. People thinking that, oh, I'll just stay here and wait until one day I wake up and feel ready. You will be waiting forever, because confidence comes from doing the thing. So that's another thing that I see massively holding people back, our circle. So if you think about, if you surround yourself with people who are really negative, people that pull you down, people that doubt you, people that try and talk you out of your ideas, tell you that what you're doing isn't possible, that will impact your confidence considerably. Whereas if you surround yourself with people that are motivating, empowering, they support you, they uplift you. If you've got a problem, they tell you that, they ask you how they can help you, and tell you that it is possible and that you can do it, and really help you to be the best version of yourself. That is going to massively have a different impact on your confidence. So maybe think about, who are you surrounding yourself with? Like, have you got those people in your life that are really bigging you up and cheering you on and willing you to succeed rather than pulling you down? And the next one is our fear of failure. So this is a big thing as well, that our relationship with failure, a fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of rejection massively keeps so many of us stuck. I know that it did for me for such a long time. I was terrified of making the wrong move, or somebody judging me, or getting it wrong, or being rejected, that I just stayed exactly where I was, even though I really didn't like where I was for such a long time. And to be able to change that relationship with failure is such a big thing. But for you to be able to work on that relationship, you need to first of all acknowledge it's something that's impacting you. And if I think about, like, any successful person I know, they've got a great relationship with failure, whereby they accept that it's part of success, and that if they do fail and get something wrong, they need to look at what they've learned, and they need to pick themselves back up and move forward, and fail forwards and fail fast. But yeah, that's something really, really can impact us and hold us back. And then the last thing, which I know will probably resonate with a lot of people watching, is the way that we treat ourselves when we get things wrong. So if you think about it, if you're somebody that, if you do make a mistake, you say to yourself, oh, well done for trying, and at least you give it a go, and what could you do differently to make it better next time? Good on you for putting yourself out there, compared to if you're the kind of person that if something goes less than perfect, that you grab the nearest big stick and just beat yourself up with it, then you're going to have there's going to be less chance that you're going to be confident and try those things. So they are just some of the things that I see a lot affecting people's confidence. So I would love you to have a think about whether any of those things are affecting you right now, or whether it's something completely different. And understanding that root cause is a great first step to understand what you need to work on. I don't know if anything on that list resonates with you, Elizabeth, at all.
Do you know what it does? Also, it's Padma said about your previous point. Great point about the mask, wearing a mask, and how it's exhausting to wear. But yeah, there's a lot, and I think it's like such a work in progress. I think it's like getting to a point where you feel, you take a leap. It's really nerve-wracking. You do it. It seems, this related to me. It seems to go well, but then you get in a comfort zone, and then you think, oh God, it's like it's never, you're never 100%. I suppose there really you might, it does seem to be a work in progress, and I'm sure hopefully other people can relate to that. But
I think it definitely is, because that you're always moving to the next level, aren't you? You're always like taking on the next challenge. So it massively is a work in progress. I totally agree. And it's a bit of a cycle when you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. I was talking to somebody about this earlier on today, actually. You sign up to do something and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do that, and you're all enthusiastic about it. And then the thing rolls around and you're like, oh, why have I said that? I'll do that. And then you do the thing, and then you're like, yes, I did the thing. And then that thing is suddenly within your comfort zone, and you're like, on to the next thing. So I do know what you're saying.
I get that.
So looking at the next thing, then the next tip that I would invite you to do, and that is to have a look at the way that you speak to yourself, because this makes such a difference. So for a long time, I used to tell things like, oh, you need to just stay where you are in your career. Don't bother wasting your time. Don't bother looking for another job. You won't find anything. You won't find anything that's the same money. You won't find anything that's the same benefits, same flexibility. you probably fail anyway, you don't know how to do anything else. And those thoughts and the things that I was saying to myself really kept me stuck. And when I think about how my life is now compared to how my life used to be, I haven't suddenly got any more intelligent or any more capable. I've just stopped. One of the things that I've stopped doing is being really horrible to myself and saying really horrible things to myself and pulling myself down and talking myself out of stuff. And, you know, I stopped saying things like, I can't do this, and started telling myself that I could do it. I stopped telling myself, oh, you're probably going to fail, and started telling myself that I would succeed. And the way that we talk to ourselves has such an impact. So our thoughts create our feelings create our actions, and our actions create our results. And quite often we can be really lovely to everybody else in our life, but actually really horrible to ourselves. And the rule of thumb here is, if you wouldn't say it to your friend, then you shouldn't say it to yourself. So if you just imagine like one of your friends came to you and she was like, oh, Elizabeth, I'm going to apply for this job. You just wouldn't say to her, oh, don't waste your time applying for that job. You're really thick. You won't get it. You're not as experienced as the other people. Just don't bother. It's pointless. But we say things like that to ourselves, and we really beat ourselves up and say horrible things to ourselves. So a really good thing to focus on as a starting point, without having to involve anybody else or do anything else, is look at the way that you're speaking to yourself. So I'm going to share a bit of a process now to sort of improve your inner dialogue. But step one is first of all, just becoming aware of your thoughts, and paying attention to the things that are popping into your head and the things that you're saying to yourself, and just acknowledging that thoughts are not facts. So just because you tell yourself, oh, I'll never be able to speak in that meeting, or I'll never be able to apply for that job, or I'll never be confident to do a presentation, or any of the things that you're telling yourself, doesn't mean that's true. And you need to acknowledge that thoughts are not facts, and ask yourself what these beliefs are costing you. So if you're telling yourself these things and keeping yourself stuck, what's that costing you? So going back to that piece that we did earlier around what more confidence would bring you, if you're here saying all these horrible things to yourself and talking yourself out of doing things and being really unkind to yourself, what is it standing in the way of you actually getting and achieving? And then look to replace those negative thoughts with thoughts that are more positive. So instead of saying, oh, it's just too hard, you can replace that with, well, I can do difficult things, or what if something bad happens? Replace that with, what if something good happens? And it's definitely a process, and it's definitely something that, you won't just click your fingers and it happens. But I can honestly assure you, if you put the time and the effort into looking at your thoughts and the way that you speak to yourself, and start speaking to yourself more kindly and bigging yourself up and boosting yourself up, it will have such a positive impact, because whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. It's another big sort of key area that I focus on with my clients. And you might want to just start off with step one, which is being aware of your thoughts, and maybe just like for a few days or a week, just sort of every time a negative thought pops in your head, or a thought that is pulling you down, or taking you further away from where you want to be, make a note of that and have a look at where's that coming from, like what situations are triggering that, and what people are you with when you're having those thoughts, and really get to the bottom of what's causing that thought process for you. And then the third and final tip that I'm going to share with you is, it's just really simple. It's do the thing or a version of it. Start small, but start. So confidence is like a muscle. So the more that you use it, the stronger it gets. And it's so important that you understand that confidence comes from doing the thing. And whatever the goal that you've got, so it could be that you want to look for a new job, it could be more confidence in your existing job, change of career, start a new business, something non-work related, whatever it is, the most important thing that you can do to help you to become more confident is to take action. So the key is to not take you from your comfort zone to your panic zone. It's to take you from your comfort zone into your stretch zone. So you need to be really clear on what that next step is for you. So I've been working with a lady recently, and she come to me because she's she's got a promotion, and part of her new role was speaking at board level to another 9-10 people. And as much as she was confident about doing the day job, that petrified her. Getting up in front of all those people and talking and delivering presentations just filled her with absolute dread. So it wouldn't have been the right thing for her to do, to just, for me to say, "I'll just go on and do it," because that would have been too much of a stretch. She'd have gone from a comfort zone to a panic zone. It had been awful. So we've been working on little steps that she can take. So first of all, the first thing she was doing was dodging all those meetings and like making excuses to not go to the meeting. So the first step for her was actually going to the meeting. The second step was reaching out to people that were in the meeting to try and build a relationship with them, so she felt like she knew them a bit more in the meeting, so it wasn't as scary. She wasn't with strangers. Then the next step for her was building up to asking a question in that meeting, or then the next thing was getting her to be able to just agree with somebody else's point, or back up somebody else's point. Moving on to then her being brave enough to ask a question. So it's about looking at, well, where do I want to be, and what do I feel that I can do, and just taking that step. And even if it's just a small step, it's still a step in the right direction. So yeah, and every time you take that step, because confidence is like a muscle, you're building up that confidence muscle more and more, and your comfort zone is getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, confidence comes from action. So when I do these little short sessions, what I don't want is for you to have just spent the last half an hour listening to me, and then to turn off your laptop, put down your phone or whatever, then just go away and get on with your life and not do anything different. Because if you do that, then you've just wasted half an hour. So I'd love you, as we come to the end of this session, I'd love you to have a think about what your next steps are going to be, and what action you can take as a result of listening to this presentation today. So 3 questions for you to maybe make a note of and go away and think about is, what first step will you take? So forget about all the rest of the staircase and all the other things that are going to get you from where you are now to where you want to be in terms of your confidence goal. What is that first one step that you can take to move you forwards, to get you going, to start building that confidence muscle? And then I would love you to make a commitment to yourself when you're going to take it, and get really specific. So not this week or next week or by the end of the month. I want you to be writing down on your piece of paper that you're going to do it by Wednesday at 12 or whatever time you decide that you're going to do it. And then I want you to think of somebody who will be able to keep you accountable. So whether that's a colleague, a friend, a partner, whoever that is, it doesn't matter, but somebody who can check in on you to make sure that you've done that thing, because you are much more likely to take action if somebody is holding you accountable. And if you feel like you haven't got anybody that you can ask, you can send me a message. Just let me know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. I'll put a note in my diary and I'll come back and I'll check in with you and hold you accountable, because I would love for whoever is watching this today, whoever is feeling like they're stuck and they want to move forward, to be able to take some action today as a result of this, to get them closer to where they want to be. And I think that is probably pretty much it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Catherine said, let's stop mean to ourselves in our minds. So I think what you said really resonated with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. It was really helpful, that. And I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this, either now on the replay, will be nodding along and will be taking some really useful steps from that. So yeah, or where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Yeah, on here on LinkedIn, definitely.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, well, we'll put all the links as well in the show notes. If anyone's got any other questions, or wants to find out a bit more about your services, then they can get in touch. Thank you so much, Leanne, and thank you so much to everybody that has watched today.
Thank you.